Great.
Hi, everyone. So today, Theo and I are going to talk to you about BPN Capital Group and what we've done. We're actually now raising capital, total opposite. We created BPN to help companies raise capital. I myself am a quantitative risk analyst, and I spent some time actually doing quantitative risk analysis in commercial mortgage-backed securities. And I understand a lot of how banks actually underwrite debt better than most, because I used to do risk analysis mainly on the paper that they sold in the secondary market. About 2013, got introduced to blockchain, thought it was garbage. Then got introduced properly, and someone convinced me to truly look at it. And I saw that it could be used actually properly, and it could solve. If you look at banking and the finance world, it hasn't changed for the past 100 years. It's exactly the same. Actually, processes, because of regulations, have actually gone backwards instead of upwards. So what we are is, I'm going to show you a quick video so that he explains to you what we do and what tokenization is, and then I'm going to give you some more details and examples.
A fintech trend that is picking up speed is the security token offering, STO for short. Security are an upgraded, highly digital version of traditional securities. For entrepreneurs, STO are an easy and relatively inexpensive way to raise capital. For investors, STO offer a secure and transparent direct investment in a company. Let's look at why STO revolutionized the way capital is raised. Security tokens are financial instruments, and they represent a share of a company or an asset, such property, fine art, or investment funds. Security likens show the ownership information on the blockchain, which protects the tokens against fraud and misuse, and makes the STO faster, more accessible, and less expensive. There are 3 types of security tokens. Equity tokens are similar to traditional shares. They represent the shares issued by a company, but they are recorded on the blockchain. Owners of equity tokens are entitled to a share of the company's profits and voting rights. Debt tokens are debt instruments that include real estate mortgages and corporate bonds. Debt tokens represent capital raised through debt, and they can be compared to a loan to the issuer. Owners of debt tokens are generally entitled to the repayment of principal and periodic interest, as in fact tokens, and especially the subgroup of commodity asset-backed tokens, represent the ownership of a specific asset, such as real estate or commodities. Supply chain, because it helps to simplify transactions, reduces fraud, and makes it easier to track, and monitor the asset ownership. There is a reason why security token offerings are becoming more popular with companies and investors. Actually, there are 5 reasons. Companies that want to raise money through an STO have to comply with regulations and disclose important information about their business by publishing a prospectus or a private placement memorandum. This increases transparency and accountability and reduces risks. Smart contracts and blockchain technology ensure that the process is thought transparent, secure, efficient, and fast. Security tokens are backed by real-life assets, which makes it easier to assess their valuation. STO uses fewer middlemen, such as lawyers, brokers, and banks. This reduces costs, makes the processes more efficient, and minimizes the sources of error. Security tokens offer fractional ownership, which opens up the market to smaller investors and brings additional liquidity, because the tokens can be traded 24/7 and with mobile apps. Trading gets simpler and more convenient. It is important to note that even though STO are a great method to invest in, because the basic risks for investors are still there. If the company fails, the investment also fails. Yet STO are an ideal way for many startups to raise capital instead of relying on angel investors. Companies can use security token offerings to easily and securely access the capital market. For a fraction of the traditional cost, this means that even small investors have the opportunity to invest in hub and coming companies and benefit from their potentially significant increase in value. Now you can join the revolution and call our team at BPN Capital Group to see if tokenization is the right fit for your company.
Yes.
All right.
Building in the heart of San Francisco.
All right. So pretty much what we've truly done, and what I'm mostly proud of, is there's a lot of other companies that offer what we do, right? And they have their own style, they do their own thing, and they're registered in different jurisdictions. We're one of the few that actually took the work to get under compliance with the SEC and under US regulation. It took 4 years to get there. We have a complete platform today that actually banks have already signed up to. And not only investors, banks actually have the access to whenever we post anything onto our securities, they can go in, and if they want to invest, they don't even have to pick up the phone and call anybody. They can actually verify everything through the platform. They have already complied with everything they have to comply, and it pretty much takes away a lot of the bad stuff that the industry has, like insider trading, hacking, which happens a lot. Majority of the risks actually go away. Now, if you ask me, what is one of the biggest benefits of tokenization is that investments that were before only reserved for the super wealthy are now accessible by accredited investors, small family offices, and some other angel investors. So some of the structures that I used to put together, for example, in the commercial mortgage-backed securities industry, as smallest ticket was $100 million, right? And yes, those investments were very profitable. I created a structure back in 2013 that had an 100% return day one when you got into it. Now, the minimum ticket to get in, first you needed to have an ISDA to be able to participate. I don't know how many of you actually know what that is. It's a license that you can get by a bank to be able to trade commercial mortgage-backed securities on the secondary market. And I created a structure there that allow investors to make 100% return day one. Now, the problem with it was a lot of us small family offices, and I want to clarify when I say small family offices, a small family office handles between 200 to 500 million, but they write checks between 2 million, 5 million, 1 million, sometimes about maximum 25 million. They actually wanted to participate on that structure that I created, but couldn't, because one, they didn't qualify for an ISDA, they didn't have the liquidity, and two, they didn't have enough capital actually, they didn't have the check size also to be a part of it. In some occasions, some of the investments that we put together, and one of the things that we at BPN have at our core is financial, we do financial structuring. So if a client comes to us and they have a financial structure, we'll look through it. And we do what is called a quantitative risk analysis. And I can tell you, 90% of the stuff we look at, they're not ready to do something. And sometimes about 60%, raising capital is not the best way. So we are not pushing tokenization to anything. If that's the best option for you and for your company, we'll tell you tokenization is the right way, let's go through it, and here's how we do it. But if that's not the case, we can help you to structure you to get finance, we can help you to structure you to get, what's your name again? As Fernando was saying earlier, we can structure you to get into a hybrid between either a loan or we can get you into a safe, as you were saying earlier. So we can help you really do a proper financial structure based on your industry, because that's the other thing. Sometimes people, when they're raising money, they think they're competing with everybody. You're not competing with everybody. You're competing with a handful of people within the same industry you're playing. So you need to truly understand what are they doing that you need to actually either be better at, or if you need to actually up your terms, like Fernando was saying. Fernando, your talk was fantastic. You are very experienced at the space. So that's exactly what we do. We help you get there. So that way, when you get in front of either a risk analyst like myself, we have already answered a lot of the questions that that risk analyst is going to have. Again, tokenization, as you guys saw, I see it as a tool, right? I see it as a way to make things better, more transparent, easier, and cost-effective. But that's not the core and the main service. We are here pretty much to help businesses and to help guide businesses through what is your best situation. And not every business is the same. Not every financial structure is going to be put out the same. I'm going to let Theo touch in our team, and then we'll let you ask some questions. We didn't put anything in the thing. Just touch up on our team and.
Oh yeah, we have a number of great individuals that are highly talented on the team. Hernandez is one of the top real estate guys in Florida, doing some great work. Building and obviously using their platform for financing as well, and then also. What's my name with Apple?
We have Jay,
who worked with Apple. He was one of the originals with Steve Jobs, and he took the company from when he came on board. The company was at 400 million. He took the company to the 6 billion. So he's a part of our team. Very technical guy that worked with Edward on the tokenization. I'm obviously not a quantitative analysis, but just the great opportunity of being able to be on the board and work with these guys. And once I started looking into the tokenization and the Bitcoin and the crypto and different things of that nature, and Edward was just speaking to me about his job and being in the room, him being the only one in the room that looked like himself, and him having a sense of urgency to bring in people that look like me, people that's in my field, to be a part of something where you can actually grow and learn, come to these type of conferences, meet people that we don't get to meet, and see different opportunities that's available in the space. So I'm grateful. As I said, he's the Michael Jordan of the team. We all need him, in order to win, and just thankful for that.
Edward's amazing. I completely agree. We're so happy that you came because I wasn't sure you were going to come. And the sports industry, sports and entertainment. Part of the reason why I really was so thrilled when Edward said that you were coming is that's a huge ecosystem.
Absolutely,
that
yes.
Never really had some of the majors like yourself come.
Right.
We want to play in it, and so Edward has been fantastic, a new friend for me in 2023, and I'm really delighted you came.
Yeah, and once I met Edward actually at a family office event in Dubai, of all places, and like I said, I was interested. I was introducing a doctor friend of mine that had some cancer diagnostic company that we were working with, and he was at the event speaking on BPN and capital. So I actually flew down to Florida to actually sit with him to understand, his business and what he was doing. And he asked me to join his board, and I took it with open arms. But like I said, platforms like this, me being in this platform, a few other guys being, getting into the tech space and doing these different things, is giving guys an opportunity to, broaden their horizon, see different ventures, and actually talking with people that have actual experience in what it is that they're doing, and that's the key, getting people that have the knowledge to be able to help facilitate you making right decisions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When you were here the first time, you told me about somebody on your platform, a woman, SEC, and the whole thing was super interesting about how, remember, there was some law.
So pretty much, again, the battle to get the SEC comfortable to actually, for us to be able to comply with regulation in US, my first ask was, and that I knew that was going to be the toughest ask to the SEC, was we want to build a commercial mortgage-backed security on blockchain. That was my first ask, right? So obviously, commercial mortgage-backed security or secondary trading instruments are one of the things that banks make the most money out of, right? So they were making it very difficult for us to get to the finish line. And they kept throwing around this particular name and saying that we were infringing on a law that this lawyer in New York created. So one day we were at a meeting and with them. And after the meeting, they said the full name because they were only referring to her last name. And her married last name, which she was divorced, so we were looking for the lady, nowhere we can find the lady, right? So they slipped the whole name on a meeting, and I told one of the attorneys, we need that lady on our team because they keep hammering us with the same BS. We need that lady on our team. So we actually had our legal team find the lady who's actually, she used to work for the SEC, and she remodeled a lot of the new laws in the US. And after we got her on the team, next meeting, we took her with us, right? So when they said again, there's an infringement on such and such law, she said, that's not accurate. And then they go, who are you? Oh, you just refer my name, right? So pretty much we had her explain to them. We have her explain to them why we were not in violation and infringement of her law. And then after that, they were like, we cannot keep dealing with this guy. So we're just we have to play ball. And 3 months in, boom, we got approved, pretty much. Go ahead.
I'm a lawyer, so I love that story. Normally people talk about poacher turned gamekeeper, as opposed to gamekeeper turned poacher. So I think that's quite a fun take on what normally happens in terms of people going the other way into regulatory environments rather than coming out and helping people to demonstrate how to get around their laws.
Correct. It's very unfortunate, but that's the society we live on today. Another clarification I want to give you guys before we allow more questions is there is a big confusion in the market between security tokens and utility tokens. They're totally different. They cannot be more opposite, okay? A security token is a security. Look at it as a stock, okay? And if you ask me, in the next 10 years, maybe 20 years, the latest, companies are not gonna go public anymore because of cost, regulation, and security is more efficient. Companies are gonna get tokenized through a securitization. This has been said not just by me, forget me. This has been said by Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan, by BlackRock, by KKR, and all of those banks. You see that they talk bad about Bitcoin, but they all talk good about securitization because they understand that the securitization of assets is the future. We have had talks with some of the major investment groups in the world about how they can securitize their whole portfolios, okay? So they are pro-blockchain. Unfortunately, they're not pro-crypto because it's not regulated, okay? I'm not saying crypto is bad. I actually was a miner for a long time. I own crypto myself, and I'm a participant of the space. I just wanted to clarify that because it's a big confusion that the overall public has. And now if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them.
We've got Fernando. Yep.
Thank you. Edward, great job. I have a question around IP.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to borrow from a bank with your intellectual property. There's a new business that have cropped up where they wrap insurance around lending against IP, but the cost of money is very expensive when you put an insurance premium around the wrapper. Have you had any experience tokenizing intellectual property?
So we had an Emerald in 2021, was it? $115 million Emerald owned by a family. They didn't want to sell it. They had it at a museum. That family is actually a client of ours on another deal, and they actually decided to tokenize it. And there is an insurance wrapper around it. So the asset is secure 100%, even though it's in a vault, it's not gonna get lost from where it's at. Maybe in your case, it's a different IP that you're thinking, correct?
Yeah, these are patent. Like a lot of startups have patents, right? So they're just not monetizable easily.
Patents itself, we haven't monetized yet, but it's possible, and we can look into it.
Yeah.
Again, Every single asset is different, and we'll look at it and we'll make sure that before we either create a financial structure for it, that you as a client are comfortable with what it is that we're going to present, and also that it complies with regulation. Because our team is built, we have a very dynamic team, and our team is built where we have strong and a strong asset on each single thing that we believe we're going to need. And pretty much it's possible to do.
Yeah, you may want to look into it because it's becoming a fairly large market.
Okay.
That has grown up in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Where they're creating credit facilities that are wrapped with insurance in case the enterprise can't pay the loan back.
Correct.
The security is the actual patent portfolio. But since the lender doesn't want to try to sell the patents because they're not easily monetizable, they get insurance, and the insurance company pays the lender the loan off if the company defaults. And the security is the underlying patent of the company. And it's a huge market that's starting to build as a secondary market for lending for startups. And there's a huge demand for this because you can't borrow from banks with IP, but most startups have IP.
Correct.
And it's very valuable. It's just tough to monetize.
Thank you for the pointer. We'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, it's usually 7% a year. 7%.
Yeah, just one second on that point, because I think that would help. There's a lot of European technology companies that have invested in IP, and there's nothing on their balance sheet. There might be in the States too, but I work with more Europeans, and I think what would be interesting, if you're projecting future cash flows, and you could have, there'd be new ways that you could bring it into the balance sheet to bolster the balance sheet and therefore the valuation of the platform. But Paul, I'll let you, because your recent deal has an interesting aspect.
Yeah, I mean, the tokenization space is super interesting for me. I've been working with digital ledger technology the last 10 years, and I think the jurisdictions that it operates in are one thing that needs to be thought about. The issue for me, or at least when I tried to tokenize a project before, was that the investors on the other side, the network was pretty shaky. When they looked at what they were actually getting for it, they were like, okay, it doesn't fit our profile. So my question is, how do you make sure that you align the LPs on your side of the tokenization platform with the projects? Have you got that broad range of investors, or what do they look for specifically in a company?
Well, the thing is that when we selling it to LPs, we're not selling it to them as a tokenization. It's a financial structure that happens to be tokenized, right? Yeah. Because that's the main problem. Every other company that's tokenizing, their main point of sale is a tokenization. Yeah. That's not us. Yeah. If literally is financial structure. Yeah, I get you now. And when they look at it, it's apples to what's out there. Yeah. I give you an example. That family that we tokenized the Emerald for, they have 320 billion worth of gold reserve. They asked us to tokenize it. Now, when we did the due diligence, they're a security. And we told them, listen, we did the due diligence, you are security, we have to do it under a security. They said, no, we want to be a utility. And I told them, well, we're going to have to work with legal to see if there's a way to make you a utility. We have the contracts with them. They have spent over $2 million trying to become a utility, but they're not. It is what it is. I'm not going to do something that's might damage my name or reputation just to make a quick buck. It is a security. It is what it is. It's the reality, right? People come up with wrappers, then they do this, they do that. That's all great. But at the end of the day, what we are is a business that will help you properly structure. And if your business fit in and is a candidate to be tokenized, we'll tokenize it. But if it's not, it's not. I'm not going to turn you into something your company's not.
Excellent. Listen, thank you. We could talk for a long time, but I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be in touch with you because that's really fantastic. It was good to have you both here. So, Edward, you're going to be here tonight. You're going to be here. You're leaving tomorrow?
I'm leaving tomorrow.
So he's here tonight. So we'll want to thank you very much for coming back and also for bringing Theo. Thank you. Edward and Theo from BPN Capital.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely outstanding.